Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Nacho Dad, and today I've got the tie rail back out to do some work on it. I got it sitting up on the flatbed just because it's easy enough to work on it up here. It's about 50 degrees outside. Just got done having that cold snap. It's going to be 60 this weekend, so I figured I'd come out here and do a little work on the tie rail. Alright, so with last video we stripped it down to here, and in this video I've got the good camera out. I'm going to set the tripod up and try to capture. We're going to go ahead and take the whole rear end out of it, probably take the front end off of it, get it down to just a frame, set the frame down on the flatbed, start going our measurements, and get ready to cut this thing up. We're going to cut it, I think I'm going to cut it somewhere right here in the front, and we're going to extend it out a foot. That'll just stretch us out a little more. I don't think it's going to make it too long, and it gives us a lot more room to get in there and play with it. I'm not going to keep boring you and not showing you anything like this. Let's get to work. Alright, so first things first, I'm going to go ahead and try and take the panhard bar off the frame. It's just got a little 19 mil on here. Lost my hammer. Found my hammer. Alright. Panhard bar is out of the way. Let's come up in here and try and take the center link out. Let's see if we can tap it out of there too. Alright, that one ain't going to be so bad. I've already cut the bolts for the shocks, so we should be able to just pop those off. Alright, so the bolt's still in there. We're going to go ahead and I think we'll pull it out. We're going to leave that in there for a second. Go ahead and pop these shock bolts out. And like that, the whole thing just falls apart. Oh, I still got a little cable. Got some cable management. Hold on, I'll be back. Let me cut that. Alright, now that we got the rear end off of it, I'll go ahead and roll it off the truck and get it out of the way. Alright, I've already got the upper shock bolts loose. I've got the nuts off the control arms. And the tie rods are loose. Well, they're off now. I just kicked the tripod. My bad. Alright, so I'm about to beat these bolts out, and then the front suspension should just fall right off. Oh no. They're going to make me take the steering rack off to get those bolts out. That didn't need much. Alright, so we got all the front suspension off. We still got the rack and pinion on it, although it's just loosely there. I've got the frame sitting up on some timber blocks. And I've got my marks made for where we need to cut the frame to stretch it. And so I've already cut the middle frame. And I'm going to come through here and I've got all my marks on the outside. We're going to come in and cut those, and then stretch this thing out. Try to get it tack welded back together. Alright, at that point we've destroyed our go-kart. It's in 2 pieces. I'm going to reset it up on blocks and get everything leveled, and then we're going to stretch it out to where it needs to be, and we'll cut some pieces, and we'll try to get it tack welded back together real quick. Alright, so the frame's ripped in half, and I've come through, ground off all the paint around the frame pieces that I need to weld on. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to make my plugs. They're going to go in, stick out, that the tube is going to slide over and weld it all together. And I'm going to drill a few holes in here because we're probably going to plug weld the inner tube to it, and then weld that, slide the new one on, weld it around here, and then a few plug welds in the other piece. So I've got those ground down and cleaned up. I'm going to cut my inserts for them, and I'll come back after I pound those in and just put a little tack on them. Alright, so I'm back, and I've done a little bit of cutting. I've got all my inserts cut and ground and pounded into the front side. And I've started on the back side. I've got to go get a little bit more steel because I thought I had enough this size, but the next stuff I got is like an 1/8 inch too big. And I don't want to cut it and roll it and make my own sleeves. So I'm going to go see if I got something that'll get in there and get these last 3 done. And as long as I got something to sleeve in there, I've got the steel to go over it. We might be able to get this thing together and tack welded real quick. My chickens have come up to see what I'm doing. Alright, so I forgot to do some filming and it started raining, so I was just kind of trying to get it done. And we're not there yet, but we're getting there. We're having to kind of stretch the frame out a little bit because these top rails are at an angle, and I forgot to compensate for that. So we've got everything kind of strapped up with the old ratchet straps. But you see these green pieces here. These are my lowers. I got some uppers. We've added a foot to it, so I'm going to go ahead and try to pull this thing together and maybe put a tack or 2 on it to hold it together until I can get it squared, because it's not quite squared. And yeah, I'm going to try to pull it together and then we'll start squaring it up. And if not, I'll get it together and then we'll end this video.
One more time.
Alright guys, so we're back, and I forgot to check the memory card before I started going on it again, because this is the next day, and yeah, it ran out of memory after about 10 minutes, so you missed a few things. I put a teaser up showing what I was doing earlier, and I'm glad I did. So I'm just going to give you a walk around real quick of what all I've done. I've gone and triple welded all the joints. You know, these are all sleeves, so there's a root pass in them to fuse it all together, then a big fat pass to blend it all in, and then I went in, ground it out, found any bad spots, and cranked the welder all the way up to high and just and ground it down. So I've got all 3 main lower frame rails in, and they're fully welded. The upper frame rails are in and fully welded, and then I've got these supports, both sides, they're in, welded. So everything here is pretty much done. That's about all we're going to get on this video. Just kind of show it to you. And I gotta find somebody that can do some sandblasting, because I really don't want to spend a day grinding this and sanding it and painting it. So hopefully I can find somebody that does sandblasting. The old modified Hobart 140 has been putting in work today. I've burned about 1 pound of wire between this and a few other little projects I've been working on. So alright, well, that's gonna be it for this video. Hope everyone had a good weekend, and we'll catch you on the next one.